we are going to complete reading Oliver Twist, completing with chapter 9, Back Among the Thieves. Um, Mainly, the story is talking about the naivety and the innocence of Oliver Twist, the poor boy Oliver Twist. Chapter 9 mainly talking about his naivety. After he was trying to show how grateful and how appreciative to Mr. Brownlow after helping him and giving him shelter and food, um, we will see what will happen to him when he goes to the bookshop trying uh, to give back the books to the bookshop. Um, we know that Fagin ordered or gave his orders to search for Oliver everywhere. So they were making a plan um, to find Oliver easily. Oliver walked along until he came near the bookshop. Suddenly, he heard a young woman shouting out in loud voice, "Oh, my dear brother." Of course, we know without thinking who was this woman. She was Lucy. He looked up to see what the matter was and felt a pair of arms thrown around his neck. "Let go of me," he cried. "Why are you stopping me?" "I found him! I found him!" cried the young woman. "Oh, Oliver, you bad boy, to make me suffer so much. Come home, dear. Thank heaven I found you." She burst in tears. The crowd began to collect. Two women who were passing by asked her what matter was, and she said that he was her brother and their parents are good people. He ran and joined the set of thieves and almost broke his mother's heart. Everyone was shouting in Oliver, naming him being the young devil. "Come home, you evil creature," said the other. "Why, it's Nancy," said Oliver, seeing her face for the first time. "You see, he knows me." This shows, of course, Oliver's innocence because he didn't pretend that he doesn't know Nancy to save himself, but he was talking to her because he already knew her. He was not cunning. He was so natural. "You see, he knows me. Make him come home to his dear mother and father. Please help me to make him come with me." "What is this?" cried Bill Size, come out of a shop with his white dog. "Young Oliver, come home to your poor mother." "And young fool, you young fool, come home at once." um, برضو هناخد بالنا من حاجة إن sometimes بيجيلنا quotes. الquotes دي would ask مثلا you will find an underlined word. It will ask you to whom it refers to. It could either refer to. يعني إيه refer؟ يعني تشير إلى. طيب إنها ممكن إن هي to pointing or talking about someone or something or some incident that happened in the story. ممكن تكون بتتكلم عن شخص، ممكن تكون بتتكلم على حدث معين حصل. Oliver was trying to help himself طبعا innocently. "I don't belong to them. I don't know him." Oliver was trying to ask for help and the man seized him. But طبعا after saying their names, no one would ever believe him. "Help," repeated Sykes. "I will help you, you young devil." "What books are these?" "Command, they are gonna steal the books and later they will take the £5 in his pockets." Oliver was still weak to fight. What could one poor child do against all this? Look at this. Oliver's too weak to fight. What could one poor child do against all this? He was pulled along the narrow streets. الانسيدنت دي آه، أو الكود دي محيرة. اللي قاري الستوري كويس لو جات له في الامتحان هيعرف إن دي من chapter 9. It was in front of the bookshop when he was trying to save himself from being seized by Bill Sykes and Nancy. اللي مش قاري الستوري هيتاخد بالأحداث إن Oliver was loaded by all the miserable things he has faced in his life وممكن يحطها في أول الchapters اللي حصلت في الستوري. So it's important to read story once and twice and thrice ما دامنا بنتسأل فيها في حاجات مهمة. طيب لو جات لي الكود دي هتكلم عن ان Oliver was too weak to fight whom طبعا to fight Bill Sykes and Nancy because he didn't want to go back to Fagin's gang. He wanted to go back to the honorable and respectable life that Mr. Brownlow was presenting it to him. Night fell at Mr. Brownlow's house. Mrs. Bedouin stood at the open door. A servant ran up the street 20 times to look for Oliver, and the two old gentlemen sat upstairs waiting in silence. طبعا Mr. Brownlow was worried about Oliver, not about the books or the £5, but he was worried about the boy because he loved him. Miss too, and they didn't want Mr. Grimwig, the suspicious lawyer, to يعني to feel himself. Nancy and Bill Sykes ran through the streets with Oliver. After half an hour, they came to a very dirty narrow. Now he is back to the dirty life of the gangs. And Sykes rang the door, opened the bell door, and the door opened, and all three quickly went inside the house. It was dark inside, and Sykes pulled Oliver down the stairs and opened the door of a room. They heard a shout of laughter. It was Charlie Bates. Here he is, cried Charlie. Oh, Fagin, look at his clothes and his books too. Quite a perfect gentleman. I can't stop laughing. Hold me, someone. Fagin bowed to Oliver. I'm glad to see you, and you are looking so well. Now they are gonna take the clean clothes. Charlie will give you another suit, my dear. You must not spoil that Sunday suit. Why didn't you write and say that you were coming? He would have got something warm for supper. At that moment, Charlie drew out the £5 note from Oliver's pocket, and of course, they were uh, happy. Sykes stepping forward at Fagin's seat. The note, that's mine, Fagin. They were quarrel and have lots of talk about the 5 notes. Who will take the £5 for himself? Now will appear there's honesty and gratitude and loyalty to his master, Mr. Brownlow. He will try to defend the £5. He doesn't want anyone to take neither the books nor the the money. They belong to the old gentleman, said Oliver, falling on his knees at Fagin's feet. They belong to the good, kind old gentleman who took me to his house and looked after me when I was so ill. Please send them back. Send him back the books and the money. He will think I stole them, and the old lady will think will think so too. And they were so kind to me. Please send them back. Of course, he was begging begging a gang. The boys right, said Fagin. They will think you have stolen them. He laughed and rubbed his hands together. It couldn't have happened better. Oliver now understood what happened. He jumped quickly to his feet and shouting for help at the top of his voice, he ran from the room. Now, Oliver, recognizing what is happening. Keep back the dog, Bell, cried Nancy, closing the door, and the other rushed after Oliver. He will tear the boys to pieces. This shows one side of Nancy's character. Nancy was not completely a bad person. She was kind. She was sympathizing with Oliver. She was trying to help him. It's what the boy deserves. Let me go after him. Keep away from the door, Nancy, or I will break your heart. Nancy, this quote shows or proves or supports we're talking if you say that Nancy character is a good character or not an evil character. She's not completely evil. She is not completely good, but she was a victim to the society's circumstances, and this what will be proved after that while we are reading more. We will find more supportive details about Nancy's character and how she was victimized by the society and people around her. If she was having more chances, she would have been much more better than this. Nancy is still trying to defend Oliver. No, no, kill me first, but don't let the dog touch the child. Sykes threw Nancy to the floor, and just then Fagin and the other boys returned, pulling Oliver along with them. What's the matter here? Said Fagin, looking round. The girl's gone mad, and of course they will mistreat her. So you wanted to get away, my dear, did you? He said, taking up a stick which lay in a corner. You wanted to get help, did you? You meant to send for the police. Perhaps you will soon stop that. He had Oliver hard on the shoulder. He was raising the stick for a second below when Nancy rushed forward, pulled the stick from his hand, and threw it into the fire. I won't stand by and see it done. Fagin, you've got the boy, and what more will you have? Leave him alone. All of this supporting your answer that Nancy was a good person, a good character. Keep quiet, shouted Bill Sykes. If you say much more, I shall hurt you. She was if you see that she is sacrificing herself for poor Oliver, she feels guilty that she helped them to bring Oliver back to them, and she is trying to save him as much as she can. She did what she did out of her pressure. It's something out of her hands. She has to bring Oliver back because she was afraid from them that they would kill her. But at the same time, she cannot leave them uh, treat him badly or torture this poor boy. Fagin, when he finds her uh, deadly, this saving Oliver, sacrificing herself for him, he will say a remarkable quote: women are a great trouble, but we need them for our work. Charlie, take Oliver to bed. We know that Fagin didn't like, or he doesn't like, Bill Sykes, but he wants Bill Sykes for his work. And at the same time, he knows that he is in a relationship with Nancy. So Fagin doesn't have friends and he doesn't believe in friendship. He will see this opportunity to have a way to make a plan to get rid of Bill Sykes, and we will see how. Bates led Oliver into the next room where there were two or three of the beds on which he had slept before. He gave him a dirty old suit and took all his new clothes away from him. Then, shutting the door behind him, he left Oliver alone in the dark. Why in the dark again, Oliver? Can you see? The repetition of the word dark, the darkness theme, which Oliver made leading most of his life in, uh, means that Oliver is back again to the darkness, Oliver back again to illumination and to humiliation by people, which is the main message of Charles Dickens to the society. We will stop here because we have finished reading chapter 9. We have discussed everything about it, which is very important. Um, Chapter 9, dealing with the character of Nancy, and we have mentioned the important quotes that shows Nancy's character, mainly all the dialogue which reveals her character is very important to be noted by you and to be highlighted. Um, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you and good luck.